Hello there, friends and sane persons, and welcome to another episode of Wednesday Whimsy. My name is Kyle, and Wednesday Whimsy is a short show that I do every Wednesday evening where I talk about a board game, a top 10 list, or some other board game related topic, whatever happens to be on my mind. Well, we are at the end of another quarter, so it's time for everyone's favorite show within a show, Quarterly Quountdown. That is, of course, the topic I do every quarter, every calendar quarter, the last Wednesday of the quarter, wherein I talk about the top 5 new to me board games that I played during the previous quarter. Now, I was really tempted to cheat this time because there's a game that I played a whole bunch of, but I had played it. I'd played it previously, so I decided it didn't qualify because, of course, I didn't play it for the first time this calendar quarter. But that's okay. I'll tell you about some other great games that I played. Now, many of them I have talked about on regular episodes of Wednesday Whimsy. At least 2 of them, however, I have not. So this will be the first time you're hearing about them from me. And anyway, I'll just tell you a little bit about it, tell you what I liked, and you can go check it out yourself, or maybe I'll talk about it in greater detail later. And with that, let's get going with number 5. All right, my number 5 is a game that I have not talked about yet on Wednesday Whimsy. In fact, it's a game I haven't talked about that much at all. And that's because it kind of came in between a whole bunch of other bigger games, which is often going to be the case these days. The game is called Crafting the Cosmos. So Crafting the Cosmos is sort of a scientific take on creation. You're kind of a cosmic being, I guess. I don't know if you're a being or a force. It doesn't really matter. What you're doing is you are using these various stars to produce elements, and these elements are going to help you build various nebulas, I guess, and systems, whatever they're called, and then ultimately populate them with life and upgrade that life to intelligent life. And you're going to score points really for those things. The sort of core mechanism is this board right here. And on your turn, you're going to move your marbles. I think it's normally 3 moves, but you've got a certain number of moves of the marbles. And then you're going to get the resources based upon where the marbles stop. And if it's your own, there's one marble that's your own color, and you're going to get bonus resources for that area. You're then going to collect cards, which are a kind of resource. You'll turn them in for bonuses. You'll be trying to complete patterns. Each of these, for example, you can kind of see up here. Am I showing this? Yes, I am. Like you can kind of see up here, this system needs to have an oxygen star, a carbon star, 2 heliums, and 2 hydrogens around it. And so you'll try and maneuver these. You'll use various gravitational fields to move stuff around. And when you complete it, you're going to flip it over, and that's going to score you points. And there's a variety of other things you can be doing. There's a lot going on in this game, even though it's not a particularly complicated game, but it's got great components and a really interesting theme, something that's really not like anything else out there. That's my number 5, Crafting the Cosmos. Let's go on to number 4. All right, my number 4 is a game that I have talked about. It's one, at the time I talked about it, I had not yet read the comic. I now have. That game is called Core of Discovery, or Corpse of Discovery, depending on how you want to pronounce it. This is a game that's sort of set in the world of Manifest Destiny, which is a comic, a graphic novel, I guess they're technically called. And you are going to be taking the role of this expedition, and you're going around and exploring. This is the non-deluxe edition, but you're going to be every turn, I guess, you're going to flip over one of these things. You're ultimately trying to figure out where things are so that you can always find what you need, because these different challenges that you're going to encounter, you're going to have certain resources to meet them. There's one scenario that's pure deduction, right? You don't even know any of the rules for where things are going to be, and you have to figure that out yourself. You might be in another scenario fighting a giant plant, or fighting minotaurs, or fighting a bunch, or trying to build insecticide so you can repel a bunch of insects. There's a lot of different things that are going on. It has a very nice survival feel, but also with a bit of, that's the Vemeter, which is kind of a headless vampire that borrows people's heads. Having read the comics now, I like this game even more because now I understand sort of what's going on. This is the bit nicer edition. But that you're going to keep going until you either meet the scenario goal or until you're unable to survive. Basically, if you need to pay water and you can't pay it, or if you need to pay food and you can't pay it, you're going to be, at the end of the day, you're going to be dead, and that's very sad. But then you'll set it up and play it again. The game comes with, I think there's like 6 different chapters, and of those, there's like 12 different scenarios within each chapter. And honestly, you're not going to remember them from one to the next. But it's a great game of discovery, of adventure, and it's interesting how sort of the stories from the comic series come through as well. It's not like anything else, and it's definitely not like the other 2 games in this company's catalog. This one's great solo, but it's good with other people too. And it's a lot of fun. Core of Discovery, Tales from the World of Manifest Destiny, something like that. Anyway, that's my number 4. Let's talk about number 3. All right, number 3 is kind of a cheat, and that's okay, because it's my show. Number 3 is a game that I've only played on Board Game Arena, which is why I haven't done an episode about it yet. This is called, let me see if I can find it here. Come on. For some reason it doesn't. Oh, here we go. This game is called The Lord of the Rings: Fate of the Fellowship. And I'm not a huge Lord of the Rings guy, but the game itself is really good. This is set in the systems of Pandemic. So you're going to be doing Pandemic-like things, but it's definitely the most unlike standard Pandemic that there is. You're going to have a certain 4 goals that you're trying to complete, and if you complete all 4 goals, you win. The 4th goal is, I believe, always destroy the 1 ring. You have to do that one last. And that one you can actually lose while you're doing, so you have to kind of make sure you're prepared to pass it. If ever there's ways that you can have this fear or discontent or something, some bad force that's going to come up, and if ever that gets to the end of a track, then you're going to lose the game. But really, you're going to do sort of the standard Pandemic 4 actions and then flip 2 cards, except it's going to be 5 actions. You've got 4 actions with 1 character and 1 action with a secondary character. Every player has 2 characters, and each turn you're going to choose which one's going to be the main, which one's going to be the support. There's a lot of die rolling. The die rolling is going to be whenever you have a combat, it's going to be dice-based, and then also when Frodo moves into the ring or the area with the enemy troops or Nazgul, and at various other times, you're going to have to make I guess it's a fate roll, where you're going to roll all these black dice, and nothing good ever comes of those. The best that can happen is nothing, but that's going to sort of reduce your, the bad tracker is going to go in the bad direction, the fate or fear or whatever track. But it's a really interesting game. It does not feel like Pandemic. Unlike in Pandemic, you're trying to come up with sets of 5 of 1 color so that you can cure the disease. And here that's not always the case. To sort of finalize the game, you need to have a set of 5 rings, but there's a way that you can kind of, there's a 7-card hand limit, but you can turn cards in for these tokens that are going to be something you can just spend, and they don't count against your hand limit. So you're trying to build that up. You're trying to complete other objectives, which require different symbols and different actions. You're trying to keep the forces of evil at bay, but not fight them too much, because fighting them attracts the attention of Sauron, and it could cause him to be where you don't want him to be at the wrong time. And also it costs resources. It's actually more difficult to do combat than it is, but you also don't want to let these people sort of run rampant across the map, because that's also a way to lose. Anyway, it's a great spin on Pandemic, and it might actually be the best of the pandemics. I don't know. I still really like Rising Tide. That's the other one that's really different. But this is it's really good. It also doesn't have the sort of pandemic explosion mechanism where when something gets full, it kind of bursts out. In this one, there's really, the bad guys are just going to hang out and they're going to accumulate until it's too big a force to deal with. And that's sort of a penalty of its own. Anyway, Fate of the Fellowship's a really interesting game. I'm really looking forward to trying more scenarios when it comes to my tabletop. But it's definitely one that I played the first time this quarter, and I really liked it. My number 3, Fate of the Fellowship. Let's go on to number 2. Yeah, that looked like number 3, didn't it? Number 3, or sorry, now I'm doing it. Number 2 is a game that I have talked about. I did an episode on Wednesday Whimsy about it a little while ago. Let me see if I can find it. I hate games with generic titles. Anarchy. Oh my goodness, it sure is hard to find. All right, the game, I apologize, that was really great broadcasting. The game is The Anarchy. The Anarchy is a sort of a spin on Hadrian's Wall. I mentioned, I talked about it earlier, but you're going to have this board, these 2 big sheets, and you're really kind of going, you're going to be going through, and every turn you get a pile of resources, and then you're going to spend something, cross off a space, maybe get something else, cross off a space, and you're trying to sort of go through this process to maximize your ability to use resources. And then, at the end of the round, you're going to have, at the start of the round, you're dealt these attack cards. And then at the end of the round, you're going to, at the end of the round, you're going to sort of resolve these attack cards. I don't know what's wrong with my brain today. And as you resolve these attack cards, you're going to suffer damage, and so you've got this castle that you're trying to build up. And the interesting thing about the castle is, all the improvements you make are really permanent. And so you're going to come on, why is my phone making noise? You're okay. Apparently, my Korean lesson is going off. Everything's going on right now. But you're trying to build up this castle, and the castle is going to help you to fight off the hordes of, I guess not rabble, but the the hordes of enemies. You're also trying to dig a moat, and so each of these cards has a different kind of type of defense that it can be used for. So it's a really interesting, kind of odd game. And like I mentioned in my discussion on Wednesday Whimsy a few weeks ago, this is really a spin-off of Hadrian's Wall. And I think I actually like it better than Hadrian's Wall. There's also a 20-something solo campaign. And the solo campaign, I mean, I enjoy it. I enjoy playing the different scenarios, but playing it as a campaign was honestly a little bit boring. I don't know. I don't know that I would do that again. But I really like the Anarchy. I really like sort of this combo building, interesting kind of way to do things. And it's really good. So that is my number 2. Let's go on to the big number 1. Where is my number 1? All right, my number 1 is the one that I lied earlier, and I said I'm going to kind of cheat on. I'm just adding an asterisk to it because I had played it. I played it last year at the Dice Tower Retreat. Oops, I should turn this off. But I only played it a little, and I finally got my own copy. And my own copy is just fantastic. In fact, I played it 25 times last week alone. this game is just really something amazing and special. And so even though, oops, I thought I had added an asterisk. Let me add one here. Even though I did technically first play it in September of last year, my number one is Leviathan Wilds. There we go. That's the asterisk. Leviathan Wilds, I have not talked about on Wednesday Whimsy formally, other than on an episode like this, where on a quarterly Quountdown. I don't know why I'm so confused with these. Apparently, I need a nap. I'm trying to find it here. Leviathan Wilds, yeah. So in this game, you're a climber, or well, really more a team of climbers. And you'll see I've rated it a 10 out of 10 because this game is just fantastic. And you are climbing up around some sort of a giant monster, and your ultimate goal is to. This is an earlier edition. Your ultimate goal is to knock out all these crystals on it. It's like somebody has this template. That'd be nice to have those templates. So this is what the board looks like. This is the basic one. You're moving up, you're climbing around, and there's these dice, and you're trying to knock them out. And the way you do it is you're going to play a card, and you've just sort of got a standard action point allocation system. The kind of hook here is that each player has a really tiny deck. Like you sort of shuffle build two decks together, and it's going to be like 8 or 9 cards. And if ever your draw deck is empty, not even when you need to draw a card, you're going to start falling down. So you're going to have to sort of manage this, and the only way to kind of replenish them is certain actions, but also if you stop and take a rest. And you can spend really half a turn taking a rest, but that sort of refreshes your grip, is what it's called, which enables you to keep going. And there's a little bit of kind of push your luck as you're deciding, not really push your luck, but you're deciding, can I go a little farther, or do I have to stop and take a rest? Because you can only rest at certain spots on the board as well. So you kind of have to really be careful about this. And then there's a 5-card deck where the Leviathan is going to be attacking you. And you'll see all 5 cards several times. And as you go through the deck of 5, the Leviathan's going to get enraged. And so the cards are going to flip and have sort of a more powerful, more potent effect. And in the game, it comes with 17 different Leviathans, and they're all really different. My favorite one is this man-eating plant. I'm sure I won't be able to find a picture of it now, but it's going to sort of, it has like stuff in its stomach that you have to also knock out. And there's 2 ways to go. There's sort of a dangerous path. You can climb down and slide down its throat and then deal with the inside, and then it'll spit you back up. Or occasionally, it's just going to eat you. And if it does, you take damage, but you get sort of a shortcut to the stomach. And so that's kind of how you're doing it with that one. And then there's a bunch more. I also got, and I guess technically this is why it can be on my list, because I got the Journey to Deep Vale or something, whatever, the Deep Vale expansion, and that has 7 new Leviathans and a new set of climber cards. So I know I did play it last September, and I've talked about it before, and it shouldn't be on this list. But I played it more in this quarter. In fact, I played it more last week than I played many other games on my list. And so I decided it can qualify a little bit late here. Anyway, Leviathan Wilds is a fantastic game, and I highly recommend it. I'll do an episode on it sometime here, probably in the near future. But anyway, it's my number one new to me game with an asterisk. And that's what I've got for you. That's my top 5 games that I played this quarter. There's some others that I played that I liked, of course. Summoner Wars is not new to me. It's never going to make this list, but it's my most played game for the last quarter. But there's a lot of good games. It's been an interesting time. I've got a whole bunch of Kickstarter games that have been starting to come in, and I just keep trying them, and then I take a whole week off to play nothing but Leviathan Wilds. Hey, it happens, right? we do this for fun, so we do what we like. And that's all I've got for you today. I'll be back again next week with another episode. I don't know what I'm talking about yet, but it'll be fun. Maybe it'll be Leviathan Wilds. Maybe it'll be something else. At any rate, that's it. I'm going to wish you safe journeys, courage when you need it, and I hope to see you back again next time for another episode of Wednesday Whimsy. Bye-bye.